Sir, good evening. Okay, okay. Okay.
So, good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Stuart Close Philosophy, the last chapter from third year syllabus, that is the chapter number 15, the drug potential. Earlier chapter, we have discussed certain aspects of the potentiation theory and the infinite simul dose and how it is scientific in nature, the concept behind that. In this chapter, drug potential will understand what is exactly the potential present in the drug. Again, a chapter related with the aspects of scientificity towards it. At the same time, what capacity drug carries while producing its effects. So this is a big chapter which we have to learn many aspects of it. We don't know the way Stuart Close have explained it. It is a really a wonderful thing to be learned. So we'll go ahead with this new chapter, the chapter number 15, the drug potential. The homeopathic theory of drug potentiation may be considered as an extension into medicine of what is known in physical science as a theory of potential, a function of fundamental importance in theory of attraction, under which the greatest part of modern progress in the invention has been made. To give Hahnemann his just dues as an original investigator in science, however, and to place his dynamical theory in its right relation to the modern scientific thought, it should be remembered that he promulgated his theory of potentiation long before the theory of potential was announced. It was pointed out, even during Hahnemann's lifetime, that his experiments and the theory based upon them opened the way for an entirely new consideration of the subject of dynamics and led to a new conception of constitution of matter. It would be permissible, therefore, from a chronological standpoint, reverse the opening statement of this article and say that modern scientific theory of potential is an extension into the physics of Hahnemann's pharmacodynamical theory of potentiation. So now he starts explaining about the concept of drug potential, and he introduced the chapter by explaining that there are certain specific laws on the basis of which this drug potential works. Drug potential is nothing but the potential capacity of the drug to produce its action, and it depends upon one more law of attraction. In the physics, we learn two important things, that is the physics as well as in chemistry, we learn two important things, that is the opposite poles always attracts each other and similar poles repulse each other. And same here, when we learn this drug potential, we're going to learn the certain aspects regarding it. Hahnemann was the first one who started experimenting on this subject. Hahnemann's experiments were way ahead than the present state of science at that time. If we correlate it with the quantum science, which is now developing very strongly, which is going against the Newton's concepts, and if you correlate Hahnemannian concept, then it goes very close to the quantum sciences. And this is something which Hahnemann have introduced very early in his lifetime. It was very beyond the thinking process of the people who were present at that time, and that's why it was not easy for them to digest the concept. Now the quantum science explains what Hahnemann have told way back. Hahnemann have explained that there are effects, human body reacts according to the effects, whatever happens around him, and that all the energies, whether it is sound energy, electrical energy, whatever it may be, it used to impact on has its own impact on the human being, and human reacts to it. And that is what is Hahnemann labeled by the name of susceptibility. And today, quantum science says same thing over there, that that branch of genetics which is developing now is called as an epigenetics. And this he explains over there that this potential depends upon two factors. One, the drug itself, and the same time, the on whom you are going to apply that drug substance. So both things are necessary to know regarding the drug potential. For the clearest and most concise definition of theory of the potential, one, quote the standard dictionary. Potential exists by virtue of position as opposed to the motion said specially of energy. Potential is the condition at a point in space due to the attraction or repulsion near it. In the virtue of there something at the point, as a matter or electric charge would possess potential energy, the power of doing work. In the case of electricity, measured by the work done in bringing the unit of positive electricity thither from the infinite distance against an electrical repulsive force. When we use the word drug potential, we used to think about the positive and negative forces or positive and negative charges. When positive charge and negative charge is present, there is always a force of attraction which happens to be there. A drug has its own potential to act on certain persons where the negative energy is already present, and through the dynamics it works on that human being if there is symptom similarity. The law of similars you have to apply, but law of similars, if it is perfect, your drug will going to make a change and make it very clear, or it will produce such adaptation methods over there or assimilation method over there, and that will work and produce its effects over there. So this is what he explained over there regarding the concept of drug potential. And he wants to explain this scientific aspect, why homeopathic remedies work so beautifully. It works on the basis of science. There is a question of electricity with which it works. So it works even at a distance also. Hahnemann have explained one concept at the end of sixth edition of Organon of Medicine, the question of mesmerism. And there are two types of passes he has explained, or two types of mesmerism he has explained. One is called to be a positive mesmerism and one is negative. In positive, there is a question of touching the body, and negative, it is from the distance you can do, where the same forces, the potential between two different entities works over there and it acts. The same is true when you relate it with the homeopathic remedy. The homeopathic remedy, if it is based on law of similars, works as a positive potential for that. Number two, if in any system of attracting bodies, a mathematical quantity having at each point of space a value equal to energy acquired by the unit mass in falling from the infinite distance to that point. So he is explaining that how it works. It works in the way the electric potential works. The homeopathic remedies also works in the similar manner. They have that potential to work, even though the material quantity is missed over there, still it carries that potential, that strain, that charge, that energy. And because of which, even though that material not present in the present material state works over there, the potential, regarded as something distributed throughout the space, determines by the difference of its values at neighboring points the intensity and direction of the force acting through the region. Its variation from one point to another thus constitutes, or at least measures force. The law being that material body always tends to move in the direction of increasing potential, and a positive electrical charge in that of decreasing potential. The function of the former case is called gravitational potential and the latter electrical potential, which is taken from the opposite algebraic sign. Electrical potential, which determines the flow of electricity, has been compared to the temperature, which similarly governs the flow of heat. The potential due to the Earth's attraction in like manner determines the level determines level, which governs the flow of water. To this, we may now perhaps add that the drug potential, due to the attraction of the living organism, determines in a similar manner the direction and kind of action of the drug prescribed to taken. So he is comparing this drug, electrical drug potential, how it flows from positive to negative direction. And as it moves in the similar manner, the drug potential which is present in the drug substance which you will going to give in dynamic form works in the similar manner. It has its own potential. If the law of similars is very perfect and you have applied it thoroughly, then this potential definitely works over there. It used to produce its effects. It used to produce the exactness over there. That's why it flows from the positive charge to the negative charge. So, in the similar manner, the way the nature's law have been explained, a weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one if latter is very similar to former in its manifestation. So, it goes from positive to negative, it goes from strong to weak, and the drug potential always works in the similar manner. This is how a drug works. This is how the capacity of the drug is there to produce its effects. Have we not here suggested in this contribution from an allied science a possible means of measuring the power and action of infinitesimal doses of medicine in the living organism? In physiological experimentation, we have to deal with living organism energized by the power which exerts a force akin to, if not identical with, electricity, but one which in its physical manifestation is demonstrably governed by the laws of motion. That force should be measurable by the methods and standards used in physical science. Here is a suggestion for our research workers. Let them lay aside for time their unfruitful studies of serums, vaccines, and microorganisms and devote their attention to the subject of vital energy as manifested in living organisms. Let them learn how to measure the actions and reactions of that fundamental entitative power and principle called light, in the same way that the electrical scientist measure the force with which he deals in his department. So he is giving that how it works in the electrical department, the laws how they used to use and see during experimentation. In the similar manner, the drug potential works. Only thing is that you have to experiment and find it out how it works with the experimentation. And if you apply the fundamental laws, that is like right from law of similars to the doctrine of vital force, then or doctrine of chronic diseases, then you will definitely see that how a remedy works, how that drug potential works and produces the positive results over there. So, it is a question of doing an experimentation and confirming it in the way the electrical scientist works over there in the laboratory. The principles they used to follow, we must follow, we must understand. Then it is possible for us to get exact scientific aspects of our medicine, what their potential is there to produce a result. The idea of drug potential, analogous to the electrical and gravitational potential, has never been advanced before, as far as I know. But it appears to be one capable of being worked out mathematically by someone who is competent. It is merely presented here a suggestion which may lead to the discovery of new means of measuring the dynamic energy and mode of action of the potentiated homeopathic medicine. Something determines the intensity and direction of force of a drug acting within the sphere of the organism and its variation from one point to another and from one condition to the state of another might be made to the mathematically measure its force in such a measurement were desirable for any purpose. So he explains over there, if you want to show exactly the potential of the drug, then we have to work very hard. We have to work in laboratory. We have to find it out how what are the effects with which happens after giving the medicine, how the patient was there before, prior to the taking the medicine, in which direction the flow has developed, what intensity of it was there. So such types of experiments you have to do. Unless and until we experiment, we cannot show the desired results. The way the electrical scientist works, in the similar manner, we have to work with our patients with the help of our drugs, and then we can define what the potential that drug substance is having. Then he says, does a crude drug in massive dose act under the same law as the material body and tend to move the direction of increasing potential? And does an infinitesimal dose obey the law which makes the positive electrical charge tend to move in the opposite direction towards a decreasing potential and thus effect a cure of disease? We know that direction of action of massive dose is opposite to the action of infinitesimal dose, as we know that the direction of the organic forces of the health is opposed to that of disease. So when we use the material doses, there is no question of drug potential which work, because there is directly a primary action of material substance. We'll take simple example that if we take a nitric acid in crude form, a remedy from homeopathic materia medica, but instead of taking nitric acid 30 or 200, we have consumed directly a mother tincture of nitric acid inside our mouth. So what will happen? It will burn the whole tongue. There will be a burnt out the tissue over there, because it is a primary action of that nitric acid on the human body. There is no question of potential. There is no question of positive charge, negative charge. It will not work as a stimulus. But same nitric acid, if we give in 200 potency to the same human being, there will be no question of burns. There is no question of destructiveness which happens to be there. But here, that dose, stimulating dose, work as a stimulant over there, because of the electrical energy or energy, kinetic energy, vital energy, whatever you will say, it to works over there, stimulate that human being, and human reacts against that specific stimulus. Then he starts reacting, then he starts showing the symptomatology, and then he develops some functional symptoms of nitric acid in the form of stitching, pricking, pain, etc. at the mucocutaneous junctions, or he might develop a severe burning at anus, or all those manifestations of typical nitric acid after that. These are nothing but the reactions given to that stimulus, which doesn't carry a material substance. So there is a big difference when you use the same material, same substance in material form and same substance in dynamic form. In dynamic form, when you prepare medicine, it works according to the laws of dynamics. It never works with the laws of physics. So there are different entities or different things we used to find over there. And then he says, we know that a peculiar affinity or attraction exists between the sick organism and drug, which is capable of producing symptoms in the healthy organism similar to those of sickness. So, if patient is having typical symptoms and you have a similar remedy in your materia medica, then definitely your remedy will going to work, because it is if it is given in dynamic doses. There is a force of attraction, and that's why the stronger one removes the weaker one permanently. The theory of symptomatically similar medicine as a curative is therefore also a phase of theory of attraction, of which the theory of potential is another phase. A dose of medicine placed on the tongue in contact with the sentient nerves of the organism, from which it is distributed throughout the entire nervous system, is a something at the point in space in which there exists a condition of attraction and repulsion caused by its presence there. The dose, according to its size and quality, may be mass or it may be an ion, an infinitesimal dynamic quantity comparable to the electric charge. The action of drugs upon the living substance is analogous to the action of electricity and has often been compared to it. There are some who even believe that life and electricity are identical. So he is comparing the concept of homeopathic drug whenever given in dynamic doses in relation with the electricity. Because electricity is also a dynamic entity. We understand this electricity is there only on the basis of its manifestation as a light. But we cannot show the electricity unless and until with some lamp or some light, some instrument, we can understand it through the manifestation of light. In the similar manner, we understand that yes, this drug has a potential because it has a capacity to produce a similar manifestations in the healthy human beings, as well as it has capacity to alters human state of health in the healthy human being, or on the basis of law of similars, it has the capacity to cure that patient on the basis of law of similars. So this is what nothing but the way homeopathy works, the way electricity works, and both of them are nothing but the having a very similarity over there in the form of dynamics. And to conclude today's session, we'll see one more paragraph. When Hahnemann adopted the plan of proving drugs on healthy human beings and thus brought drug action within the category of the observable phenomena, he opened up new field in the physical science and made possible the formation of dynamical theory, by which their action may not only be physically explained, but measured, modified, and controlled. So he was the first one who started proving the drug. He was the first one where he started utilizing it in healthy human being, find it out what phenomena it produces, what manifestations it produces, what are the signs and symptoms which comes out, the subjective as well as objective, and then he started using that totality, that symptomatology with the patient's totality, and if it is matched, he used to give that remedy. This was a new era at that time, and what the concept Hahnemann have used is now considered as a quantum science. Now we can learn, and the science has been advanced, and now science is taking the understanding the concepts of Hahnemann, which he has told way back. So here in this chapter, he again explained the scientificity of the drug substance and its potential whenever used in potentate form. So we have finished one more aspect of it. Tomorrow we'll continue with the same chapter. And today evening we're going to meet again with a new remedy and at 8:15. Thank you being there and good evening.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.